Hey guys. So today we're going to continue vertical parabolas, and the only thing we're changing up today is just the form that it's in. So vertex form we did yesterday, which is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. We know how to find the vertex, and we do that by just basically pulling it out of the form hk. And the exciting part is mathematicians weren't really creative. Vertex form, you find the vertex pretty easily. Okay, standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. This might remind you of like quadratic formula and other things like that. We're not doing that today, don't worry. But the nice thing is that you've seen it and you might remember from Algebra 1, maybe, how to find the vertex here. Okay, so how do we find the vertex? The vertex you find by finding, so first of all, this is the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry you should know is the x value of vertex. Okay, so how we're going to do this is, sorry, trying to move that. X equals opposite b over 2a. So we're going to take whatever's here, put a negative in front of it or change it to a positive, and divide by 2a, whatever's in that position. How are you going to find the y value? Okay, y value the vertex. You're going to plug in negative b over 2a and solve for y. So, jot that down. Most important thing you've got here, negative b over 2a, and then we're going to plug it back in. Okay, so I'm going to do example 2 and 3 because they're a little tougher than number 1. It doesn't really matter. I think they're all good practice, so I won't say don't do number 1, but just for the sake of your time. Let's try number 2. Okay, everything is still the same. Notice, literally this is copy and pasted from yesterday's notes, so there should be no surprise about what I'm asking for. The only difference is, look at this. This is not in that vertex form anymore. So take a look at number 2. Okay, number 2, what's the vertex? Well, actually I don't know yet. So we're going to use this x equals opposite b over 2a. So x equals opposite, so a is 2, b is 4, and c is negative 2. So x equals opposite b over 2 times a, which gives me negative 4 over 4, which gives me negative 1. Okay, so that's this part right here. Negative 1 comma something. And that, remember, is the same thing as the axis of symmetry in this case. So x equals negative 1 is our axis of symmetry, and it is the x value of my vertex. Now, what is the y value? Well, you're going to take your equation, y equals 2 times, so instead of x, we're going to plug in negative 1. Negative 1 squared plus 4 times negative 1 minus 2. 2 times 1 minus 4 minus 2 equals 2 minus 4 minus 2. Okay, I did that super slow, sorry, which is negative 4. All right. Here's the thing that comes up. If you're being asked to graph this, okay, if I said graph on this graph, okay, if you get like 1 comma 50, I think you should be a little bit worried that you might have done your math wrong somewhere, because I wouldn't make you graph that, and typically I don't try to trick you, as you might know. If I ask you just in general, like if you take a look at examples down here and I just say, what's the vertex? The vertex, do you get to graph here? No. So the vertex could be something crazy like 1 comma 15, and that's fine. It doesn't affect how we graph it. Any vertex could exist in all of the rational numbers, so we're not going to worry about that. But anyways, if you're graphing, it should be something you're able to graph. So maybe check your work if it didn't work. So which way does it open? A is still that same thing. So A is 2, so it opens up. Okay, and then we got to make space for our little new algebra 2 part, which is A equals 1 over 4p. 2 equals 1 over 4p. I always recommend just making it a fraction. Cross multiply. 8p equals 1. So p is 1/8. This is exactly the same process as yesterday, so I hope it's not a shock to anyone. And then we go to negative 1, negative 4, and we start our parabola. So again, I usually just save this and do it visually. So negative 1, negative 4, we have an a value of 2 Okay, our a value of 2 for 1a, 3a, 5a gives us 2, 6, 10. So let's see what works here. Up 2 over 1, up 6 over 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, nice, okay. Oh. Perfect, okay. So that was step 1. One piece is graphed. Okay, step 2, as you guys finish drawing that in, you're gonna write in that axis of symmetry, x equals -1. Next piece, what are our focus and directrix? Remember, those are coming from that p-value. Our p-value was 1/8. So we're gonna try to go exactly 1/8. Obviously, it's not gonna be perfect on the graph. We're gonna try our best. So we're gonna go up 1/8 and we're gonna go down 1/8. The focus is on the inside, the directrix is on the outside. So what is that focus? That focus, we went down to -4 and then we went up 1/8. That would be at -1, comma. So instead of -4, you add 1/8. You actually end up at -3 7/8. Honestly, what gets people in this chapter sometimes is just the fractions. I promise you they shouldn't be freaking you out, but I know they look complicated. So just take a second, subtract. Really what I just did here was -4 and I added 1/8. And that's how I got -3 7/8. In this line here, this directrix is y equals, so instead of -4, I went 1 more eighth down. So -4 and 1/8, right? So -4 and 1/8 is where I'm at. So focus was -1, -3 7/8, and y equals -4 and 1/8. Okay, so last couple things to finish up here. I want to look at number 3, and then we'll try looking at the last couple problems, and we'll be done. Okay, so take a look at number 3. Okay, you could actually figure out some of these things, right? What's the a value? It's -1/2. So it opens down. So that's a good start. But the main thing is we notice this is in standard form. So we have to do our x equals opposite b. So notice b was -4. So I'm doing opposite b over 2 times a. That gives me 4. 2 times -1/2 is -1. So I get an x value of -4. Okay, so -4, comma, and you could even write it here, x equals -4, kind of filling in as I go. -4, now I have to plug it in. Y equals -1/2 times -4 squared minus 4 times -4 plus 1. -1/2 times 16 plus 16 plus 1. -8 plus 16 plus 1. And I end up with 9. All right, so to finish up here, guys, that is our vertex, which fits on the graph. It's perfect, -4, 9. I'll even go draw it in right here. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is find our p-value. So a equals 1 over 4p, cross multiply. -4p equals 2, so p equals -1/2. Okay, and then we just have our final details to draw in. First, we need to draw our parabola. Okay, our parabola, we have an a value of -1/2. So we're going to go down -1/2 over 1, down -3/2 over 1, down -5/2 over 1. So what does that look like? Down 1/2, down 1.5, down 2.5. Okay, so there's our lovely parabola. I'll draw in the axis of symmetry, which is x equals -4. Hope I wrote that down, yeah. And finally here, we are going to mark in that focus and directrix. Our p-value was -1/2. So from 9, I'm going down 1/2 and up 1/2. So from 9, I went down 1/2. So instead of being at -4, 9, I'm at -4, 8.5. And instead of being at 9, I went up 1/2. So I'm at 9.5 for my directrix. So this was -4, 8.5, because I went downwards for my focus, and I'm at 9.5 for my directrix. So again, review from yesterday, but good to get some extra practice. And I've got all 4 elements graphed. All right, so example 4 through 6, we're not going to do all of them, but I just wanted to point out a couple things. So if you look at example 4 and 5, okay, example 4 and 5, it says find the vertex. What I want you to notice is that technically, let's say I wrote it a little differently. This is kind of in vertex form, right? In a sense. So 0, -12 is my vertex. Now, if you didn't notice that, you could do x equals -b/2a. What would your b value be? Well, there's nothing there, right? It looks something like this, -12. So it would be 0 over 2 times -9, which is 0. And guess what? When you plug it back in, you get -12. So I just wanted to point out, sometimes it's actually easier than you think because it's in that vertex form. Same thing with 5. Don't foil it. Don't go crazy and start getting the standard form. Just go here and say, oh, -1, 2. Easy as that. Okay, 6 and 7 are kind of the more fun ones here. So 6, we'll just do 6. I'll save 7 for another time. Same process. So 6 and 7 are both those standard forms. So I start out with x equals opposite b/2a. You know why I picked this one, because it has a fraction, which I thought you'd really like. I know you've been waiting for a fraction here. So 6 divided by 2/3 is the same as 6 times 3/2, which is 18/2, or 9. So I don't want you to panic there. Okay, fractions aren't scary, I promise. We've got 9 for our x value, and then we want to plug it in. Y equals 1/3 times 9 squared minus 6 times 9 plus 4, which gives us 1/3 of 81 minus 54 plus 4, 27 minus 54 plus 4 gives me -23. So 9, -23 is our final answer. Does it fit on a graph? I don't know. I mean, not the graphs that I usually give you, but is it an answer for a vertex? Sure, that would be fine to answer. It doesn't have to fit on a graph in this case because the problem is over. So that's it for my video. Thank you so much for watching, and please again reach out if you have any questions.